watching Halenville Live with Fruitcake Tony. Woo!
Right on, it's Wednesday night. Yes, it is. This is Halenville Live. This is Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023. Fruitcake Tony with you. Keith Campbell along.
What's going on, boys and girls?
It's supposed to be winter time. It is February.
Winter's out here in San Diego now. It was 30 degrees today in San Diego.
It was 30 in San Diego.
Yeah, nasty ass, blustery, cold winter weather. Oh, God.
Wow.
Ugh. Yeah, it was blowing. The wind was blowing hard. And I was on jury duty today and then looking down at a construction building and just watching the crane swaying back and forth. I'm like, oh, boy, don't want to be out of the job today.
I know a lot of people in the north are getting hit with a lot of snow and ice, but here in the south, it's been mild, and I'm happy to say it was 82 today.
You are one lucky son bitch.
It was.
I wish I had that weather.
Yeah.
Dang.
82 it was. Yeah, I hope you are where it's nice weather. And if you're not, it'll be nice soon. Spring is coming. Yeah, it is. We have a special guest in the green room. We're going to get to later on. We're going to get to some nearly impossible Van Halen trivia for a cool prize. Keith, we're going to give them.
Oh, yeah. Show them what we're going to. Yeah, nice little Van Halen 3
pass. From July the 3rd, and I forget the amphitheater. It's on the West Coast.
I believe that was Del Mar.
Del Mar, yep.
Del Mar Fairgrounds, right up the street.
You're exactly right.
Yep.
When in doubt, ask Keith. Yeah. Yep. So we're going to give you that, and we're going to reach in here and score you a. Where is it at, Keith? Oh, there's one. All right. We're going to pop you a 1971 D quarter with that pass.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot going on this week here on the channel. We got a special guest in the green room, Keith.
Bring him on.
Yeah, let's do
we got a lot to ask him.
Yeah, this dude is a huge Van Halen fan, and why he has not been on the show before now is beyond me, but he's here tonight. So let's bring him in. Ladies and gentlemen, Mikey Mojo, there he is.
Mikey! Yeah. Raise him up,
What's up, fellas?
What's up, bro?
Yeah.
How are you, man?
Good, man.
Cheers, brother.
Good to see you.
Here. This is great. And you're right, Tony. Long overdue, man. We trying to do this a couple times, and finally we hooked up. So this is awesome.
Yeah, man. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you, bro.
How's
Looking
things
forward
going
to hanging.
for you? How's things going for you?
Things are going well. Just like you were saying, some wacky weather here in the Northeast the last couple of weeks. We went from 70 degrees last week to hail and ice storms and 20s overnights. A little weather volatility, but that's all right. I'm still here. We're still here.
Right on. Yeah. Well, Mikey, it's good to see you, bro. We have, Keith and me, we have a little Van Halen style questionnaire that we're going to give you.
Awesome.
A little grilling, a little welcoming gift. A little welcoming gift.
Let's do it.
Hope you're wearing your Depends.
But this is rapid style. So the first thing you think of is your answer.
Awesome.
We're going to get to that probably right off the bat, but let me open up my chat first.
Yeah, roll it
and
up.
Let's see who is in the house with us. What's up, guys? Dan in New Jersey is here.
What's going on,
Janice
brother?
Lala. Hey, Janice.
Hi, sweetheart.
There's R2, R3, Lock and Nut, our
R2.
Van Halen brother right there. As is Ryan Hall.
Ryan, my IBEW brother.
Let me scroll up, man. Ed is in the house. Ed DeBrill.
Oh, yeah.
Van Halen brother right there. As is Andy Carson, right on.
Andy, yeah, brother. What's going on, man?
All right. Christopher Live Sauer is in here.
Yeah.
As is Thomas Santiago, Papa Blue, and
nice.
Jay
Hey, Papa
Turner.
Blue. Jay.
Right on.
What's going on, brother? You're going to have to send me more updates on these, the new ones, because I only got the old generation ones. I want
Lewis.
all of them.
How you doing, dude? Good to see you.
Lewis.
I'm gonna scroll back down. If you said hey early, say hey now. Good to see everybody.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday, February 22nd. Let's catch them down here. All right.
Yeah.
Nice to see you guys. Hope your week's going swell. Hey, Patty Deal. Good to see you.
Good, Patty.
All right. So I figured that we hadn't done this to any of our guests before, this little rapid fire questionnaire, but it's very Van Halen oriented, so you'll dig it. But yeah,
we get to bust it out on Mikey first.
I'm ready. I'm looking forward to it, actually. I feel like I'm on a quiz show.
Yeah. All right.
Don't worry, you'll get through this one.
Yeah.
Just be
all right.
Just be honest. That's what you have to do.
I will, always.
Rapid fire. Here we go. There's 15 of them. Let's go. All right. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Beer or liquor?
Both. Bourbon and beer.
There you go, brother.
Sam or Dave?
Oh, Dave.
Dave. All right. The 81 Eddie Van Halen guitar tone or the 95 Eddie Van Halen guitar tone?
81.
81.
8 days a week.
Right on. All right. Your favorite Van Halen album?
Oh, that's tough. It's a close tie, but it's Fair Warning / Women and Children's First. It'll be Fair Warning.
Right on. All right. What was the first Van Halen album you ever got?
I purchased Diver Down, but it wasn't the first one I heard. The first one I heard was Van Halen 1. But purchased with my own money, Diver Down, 82.
All right. So, Mikey, you are a guitar player, we know. How many guitars do you own versus Van Halen style guitars do you own?
That's a good question. Van Halen style 12 with my buddy Lewis at Fairfield making 13, lucky number 13. And outside of Eddie Van Halen guitars, 2 Stratotelli, 4 Les Pauls, 6 outside of that.
Right on. Cool. Nice. All right. So how many Van Halen shows have you been to?
4.
Right on. All right. How many David Lee Roth shows have you been to?
3.
3. Okay. How many Sammy Hagar shows have you been to?
1.
1. Okay. All right. What was your first Van Halen show?
86, Live Without a Net at East Rutherford, New Jersey, Meadowlands. My first concert ever, not even first Van Halen show, first ever concert.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah. Hell of a way to kick in. That's a bar set high.
Thank you, Cousin Joe, for getting me the tickets. Cousin Joe, he's the reason.
So of those 4 Van Halen shows, what's the best one of the 4?
Man, it's actually a tie. The first one was insane. 86 I was 12, and it blew me away. Goosebumps to this day. It was the loudest show, one of the loudest shows I've ever heard, even though it was my first. Mm-hmm. I can compare it over the history of shows I've seen. One of the loudest shows, with Ed being the loudest. Backman Turnover Drive opened. Leslie West came out from Mountain. They did Mississippi Queen. They did Van Halen did rock and roll. They did some crazy encores. It was just everything a first concert should be for any youngster out there. And then at the other end of the spectrum, 2015 in Homedale, New Jersey, August 9th, the last Ed show, for different reasons. Dave was having difficulties, but Ed was on fire that tour. He was on fire that night. He was having fun on stage. It was a great moment with Wolfie and him, and having the feeling that was going to kind of be the last hurrah, maybe. And I was older. I took my wife, and we went with another couple. I could appreciate things more. So on the other end of the spectrum, that was a special show, but the first show was the best show.
Right on. All right. Nice. I want to ask you something about that after we're done.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah. All right. So you live up in Jersey. You got a lot of great venues up there to see concerts. What is the best place up there, in your opinion, to watch a show?
Different rooms for different seasons, but if you can get a great summer concert at the Meadowlands, like a Guns N' Roses, I went 2 years ago, or Bruce Springsteen, nothing better than the Meadowlands. In New Jersey, a Bon Jovi, with maybe even a Jersey Act, in the summertime ripping with 60, 70,000 people is just an energy you will never experience. But there's a lot of great smaller rooms. For me, I'm in Monmouth County. I go to the Count Basie in Red Bank, New Jersey, and see a lot of great shows.
There you go, brother.
Right. Yeah. I think
I saw Weird Al there.
I've seen so many great shows there. I've seen Joe Bonamassa there numerous times up close, and I don't know if it holds.
I met the guys. Yeah.
Yeah, 3,500.
Great venue.
3,500 people. I saw Pat Benatar and her husband Neil Girardo there doing an acoustic show. It's a great venue and a great room with a beer garden in the back, and it's 20 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
Now, at that last show, on that last tour, did you have those thoughts that looking up there that this might be, for whatever reasons, this might be the last time?
Yes, and ironically, not because of Ed's health. I remember going to that show thinking, wow, Ed looks great. He had the salt and pepper hair going. He had a different look going, but he looked healthy. He looked like he had some meat on his bones. His playing was bar none, it was back.
Yeah.
But I remember throughout the show listening to Dave going, he's really having difficulties. I don't think he could do this anymore. So I thought for that reason it was going to be probably the last one for them, because they wouldn't go on with him singing and put out a subpar performance or product. So I thought for those reasons, this might be the last time I get to see almost the original band without Michael. I was caught by surprise a few years later when I heard how bad the cancer came back and Ed was going to Germany and doing the trips. I didn't know it was that bad. When I saw him in 15, I was like, wow, he's back. He looks great. We got another, 5, 6, 7 years, maybe do something with Gary or Sammy. Awesome. but I had the feeling it was the last of that lineup because of Dave.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it did look like that he was in good health. He played phenomenal that last one, but after the cancellation stuff in 12, he did look in great health.
He did. And that show I saw in Homedale, which was cool because, you notice Keith, he always would pull out like a rare guitar or an oddball guitar. And he pulled out the Star guitar. So he had the Star guitar, which he did I'll Wait. And he might have did Everybody Wants Some. I got to go look at the YouTube videos. But that was August 9th. And then a week later in Camden, the 15th, is when I guess Scott Smith made a replica from Musicraft and brought him in Camden, New Jersey, brought him to Rasta. So I missed that guitar by 6 days. And then he played the Rasta guitar the rest of that tour into the final shows. But I got to see the Star, which was cool. So that was a really good little piece of history for me for that show. And the set list was great that year because a lot of deep cuts. Drop Dead Legs, Romeo the Light, just Everybody Wants Some. A lot of deep cuts that I loved the set list. And Dave had trouble, but the band sounded amazing. The background vocals, Wolfie and Ed, were doing more to compensate for Dave, but they were getting it done. The band sounded great. 3/4 of that band that night was on fire. And it was a great show. It just sticks with me. I'm glad I saw that last, not knowing at the time it was the last show, but that last tour, I'm so glad I went.
One thing I like about that show, and you got to witness it. Dave pulled out the blow up 5150.
Yes.
we okay. Growing up down the shore, you know it and I know it. Okay, we would go down the shore and we play those boardwalk games, and then you'd win like a prize. And they would have those blow up 5150 guitars.
I had a few of those in my.
I could not believe he pulled that out.
Yeah, that was great, and it was good. You know what? That show that I saw, I'm sure Dave was like that the whole tour. They were on stage. I know they went their own ways after the show, but on stage, the interaction with Dave and Ed, even he was having fun. It was loose. The only thing missing was Dave not being able to physically kind of do it. I mean, some shows on that tour weren't as bad as other shows. The night I caught him, he was 60%-ish. Some songs he got through, some songs he really struggled. But the whole time he was a showman. Like the show went on. He entertained the crowd. He was having fun. He was being Dave. So you got your money's worth. But the other couple I went with, the guy was like, he can't sing anymore. I'm like, it's not about Dave. I'm like, it's about that guy playing the guitar right there and his son.
Yeah. We had no idea though, but my thoughts on that last tour wasn't anything helped, but it was, to get them on the same stage, knowing they don't get along like that, I thought it could be the last time because of that.
Yeah, because the stuff you read and then seeing them on stage they were professionals. They kept it light, they kept it fun. And, you didn't see any animosity or that whole show I was watching, I wasn't far back. I was probably in the 18th row on Wolfie's side. And I was watching, in between songs, what the body language was. And it was loose and fun. There was no bickering. If something went wrong, they laughed about it. At one point, Ed was having a problem with his effects in his pedal board. And he looked at it and he just waved his hand and he walked over to Alex and started wailing. It was just a very loose atmosphere. So whatever was going on off stage, they at least they didn't bring it on. They were professional about it, and they put on a great show.
Yeah,
right.
That was a cool thing about that tour. I mean, like you said, they brought out the throwbacks, the deep cuts. They did it on the 12 tour also. They were playing Girl Gone Bad. They were playing Full Bug. They were pulling out some good tunes during the 12 tour as well.
Yeah.
And that was probably all of them at their pinnacle right there because, 07, 08, Eddie was having issues. We all know
he was still, he was sober. Right.
Yeah. Well, he I saw him in November in 07, the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And it was a night that he unveiled the Cream Wolfgang.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And he sounded great, but well, he played great. He didn't, the sound on it,
Right.
was so. I didn't like the way it really sounded. It sounded a little over compressed, but he sounded good. I know he was having issues and he was still a little bit into doing stuff,
Right.
But later on that tour, he cleaned up and got better. But
The second
everybody
leg,
all
right?
at once.
Steve-O, welcome, dude.
Yeah.
Hey,
Steve-O.
It's
Going on,
Steve-O's
brother?
birthday today.
Hey, happy birthday, man. Yeah, raise
Right
him up.
on.
Steve-O, happy 25th, brother.
Happy birthday, dude.
Happy birthday, brother.
Right on. I'll drink to that.
Yeah. Glad to have you here celebrating with us. And we're glad you're celebrating here.
Right
Thank
on,
you.
dude.
Yeah, Steve-O's the best. Now, that guy's got a guitar collection, Tony. We were just talking about guitars, Steve-O.
Yeah, he does. Whew.
You're going to have to show us some of those behind you there, Mikey.
Absolutely.
Go back there and grab some. Do some.
Yeah, and we were talking about, Lewis and Fairfield is in the chat, and we were talking about I have 12 and Van Halen guitars, and Lewis is working on my 13th, which is going to be a star, and we're very excited about.
Nice.
Lewis is the best. We love Lewis.
For a refill.
This shirt was from Lewis.
Right on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, like we were talking, Tony, about your fruit sickle, Lewis made this roster for me, and we were talking about the gold hardware. And there I went with just a Floyd special gold hardware on that. But Ed had the chrome football jack on his, if you remember. So he didn't go all gold.
Right.
The gold locking nut on there, and gold go-to tuners on here for this one, if I could find it. Damn. And we went with a DiMarzio X2N pup, just like Ed had in his, just to be different. It's a hot pup, like most DiMarzios. I have the Super Distortions and two of the other guitars, and they're very hot when he briefly was in that stage. But this is 2-inch mahogany, Honduran mahogany, like Ed, so it's heavy, almost like a Les Paul. But Lewis did great paint job. This was his trial first run with doing a Rasta, and he goes, "You want to be my guinea pig?" He goes, "You want to be my guinea pig?" I said, "Absolutely," because he made one for Steve-O after me. And in the back, I kept with the gold hardware theme, and we did that.
Nice.
So I'm guessing he started with the white first on that?
I believe he did, right, Lewis?
And layered out? Yeah.
Lewis.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, only 12, Lewis.
So, yeah, this was the second one Lewis did for me.
Yeah, that thing is so freaking badass.
And then,
I was just like enamored with that thing when he brought it up for the EVH Con.
Yeah, we brought that to EVH Con.
Oh, God, I was drooling.
Yeah, and it's got a nice,
I think I hope my DNA is still dripped on there.
Yeah, just like, I guess it was Ed's cat vomit, right? When that was the story. The story that, and you guys probably know that the Weasel had that, and then he did sell it to a private collector in California.
Yeah.
He built that great studio in his house. Dweezil sold that guitar, and he actually sold the Jimi Hendrix Sacrifice guitar from Monterey, the one that he burned and gave to Frank. He gave to his dad. He sold that. He was up for auction at Sotheby's.
Who the hell would sell that?
I don't know.
Who bought it? Jim Isray?
It has to be some big time billionaire type collector.
Oh my God. Yeah, because wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speechless that he sold that.
So this was the first one. When Lewis and I met, we met over the pandemic. So probably like 3 years ago, online on Instagram and eBay and stuff and Reverb. I noticed he was selling and building guitars over the pandemic, and I was buying and trying to build some stuff and tinkering around. And then we just met online and started talking. He's like, "I'm in Connecticut." I'm like, "I'm in New Jersey." And in Lewis's other life, his other career, he's in the clothes and garment industry. And he's like, "I make a lot of trips to Philly once a quarter. We should meet up when I'm coming to Jersey." And I'm like, "Absolutely." And I saw on his page, he was starting to work on this, which was the circles. And if I remember correctly, and Lewis could probably correct me in the chat, this was like a 1980s Fender, maybe a Korean Squire body, maybe, that he had gotten. And he wanted to do the circles. And he started putting it together, and, you know, he slapped the neck on it. I'm not sure what the neck was, but he put the, like Ed's, a Floyd non-fine tuning trem on it, just like Eddie's. Didn't have the whale tail just yet. And I put in, this is an actual 1979 Super Distortion that a buddy of mine had in his store.
Nice.
He owns a local mom and pop store, Maggio Music in Brooklyn, New York. Guy I grew up with and took lessons in his store when I was a kid. And he called me one day and said, hey, I got a 1980 Les Paul, I think it was a custom in his shop. He goes, it's got DiMarzios in it. You want me to pull them out and see what year they are? They look like Super Distortions. And I know you're a big Ed guy. I said, please do. And he pulled them out, and look at the cream and the wear on it. It's an actual 79 DiMarzio. So Lewis had built me this, and I'm like, we got to put it in there. So I did. And this plays great. It's got a nice weight to it also. You know, it's got the big block in the back. Mm-hmm. And Lewis did a great job on this. So this was the first one he made for me. And then the Roscoe was the second one. So
I love the old Floyd on that too.
Yeah, that's the way Ed had it. You know, it didn't have the whale tail at that time.
Yep.
So it's mostly period correct.
Yeah. The second gen.
Nice.
Just some other ones back here.
That was a hell of a job, Lewis. Congratulations. You do phenomenal work, man.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Holy crap. Oh, look at these bad boys.
Yeah. So yeah, this is my 79 eruption strat, 78 eruption strat before they made theirs. So this is kind of, you know, close to what Ed did with a stock trem on it, like a Fender trem. This is Ash, this body, and that's a Seymour. It's close to a JB. It's a custom, a Seymour custom, but it's wound kind of like a JB. So I think Ed, what we think in this one, he had the PAF, right, originally from the 50, 59, 335 maybe, and then I think later on a JB might have been put in there. But this is just kind of just a stock, you know. Don't have the big headstock on it. I want to do that. This was one of the first ones I did and got. So this is about, I don't know, 5 years old. And then, you know, they came out and built that one now, this year, EVH, and it's awesome. And this is just a regular EVH B. I got two Bs. This is a 2014. And this, again, I put a DiMarzio Super Distortion in there, like Ed at one point. And everything else is pretty much stock on this thing.
Is that an EVH Floyd?
Yeah, it's an EVH Floyd. I want to show you this other EVH B I have, which is more like the 79 version.
Welcome, Richard.
Hey, Richard. What's up, brother? Welcome to Halenville.
This one, this one's more like a 79. It's Ash also.
Yeah.
And this one's got, this is actually a Wilkinson trim. And this is also Seymour Duncan in here. And the headstock, what I did was I painted it black. And this is actually a Squire 80s neck on it with the brass compensated nut like Ed was doing at the time. And the tape over the Charvel logo kind of. Yeah. But this one, you know, it's kind of relicked a little bit to make it look like the time. You know, and he, at that one time too, he had, when he first got it, he had the kind of like a, almost like a tele knob, speed knob. He had that on there for a little bit before he took it off. So this one's more like a period correct one.
And the color on that pops a little bit more than the EVH.
Yeah, and it's not as shiny and glossy like the EVH is. I mean, the EVH ones are great. The necks on them are superb. They play amazing, but the finish on them looks so factory. They're so glossy. These are more like a road worn kind of feel, like a real feel to them. More of a matte kind of finish.
Yeah.
And they just look played. You know, throw them around, leave them around the house, bang them up. The better they look.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Adam.
What's going on, Adam? And got to give a shout out to Adam on his updates on his book. Wow, great job, man.
Yeah.
And the format that he sent it to us also is perfect. You know, I have no issues with it whatsoever. It came out great.
Yeah.
Mikey's got so many to choose from. Look at him.
Yeah, I mean, just, I don't want to take up too much time, but this is just this one's a stock Diver Down Kramer, which is a pretty cool guitar.
Mikey, the show is about you. It's all about you. So you take as much time as you want.
Yeah, these were cool because when they came out, I missed the first run of them, and I really wanted one. And they got some cool features. They got a Seymour JB in here for anyone who doesn't have one of these. It comes with a push-pull to split the coil, which is nice. The paint job, the paint job is fantastic. It plays like a Kramer. It feels just, this is an 84 Beretta, so all the specs, the neck feels amazing. And I think this was the second run they did. And I think, again, they only did 1,000 pieces in this. So, I mean, they're limited. You can find them online, but there's not a lot of them. And just to have it, I was like, you kind of need one of these because they're just awesome. So cool. They're cool. Man. And,
Absolutely.
One of my favorite albums, it gets speed up a lot because Ed wasn't crazy about it because of the covers and everything going on with the band at the time. We just got married. We were supposed to have a year off. They put out Pretty Woman, and then the record company wanted an album. So he always had like ill feelings against this album, but I love this album. So that's why I wanted to have this.
That's badass guitar, man. Yeah, I remember when those first came out.
It plays great. And this is like a Frankie work in progress. I have two Frankies. This one too.
You're pissing me off, bro.
This one I've been toying with and messing with and relicking and over relicking and redoing it, kind of like Steve Nowicki just refinished his. This I just put in from Steve-O 5150. It's a Pariah Black. Sounds amazing. Nice. This is the phenolic pickup like Ed had in it. It's also got a push pull, so it's not a dummy pickup. It actually is wired, which is kind of cool.
How does that sound?
It sounds nice. It gives you that kind of it gives you a strat sound, just like a single coil in the neck. But it's just like nice to have it because if you're playing this and you're in the studio jamming with your friends or some guys and you want to just have a different sound, it's cool. It's cool to go to, and you don't see it that often on them. The back I'm still working on. I have a serial neck plate I'm going to put on. And a few other pieces. I'm still kind of working on the relic on it to get it better and some of the stripes. But yeah,
you already have the neck plate?
I ordered it. It's coming with like 3 pieces. I got another piece to put another more period correct 3 pickup selector. I'm swapping that out. I'm swapping out the football. I got a relic one to put in here, a football jack.
Cool.
And a couple other pieces. So this will be finished at some point, but again, it's just stuff to do. But it plays great. It sounds great.
Looks good so far.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that's really most of them for now. I'm really excited to get the one that Lewis is working on.
Yeah.
That one, Lewis did some work. I told him the story about the guitar, the origin of it. It was a blue 1980s Greco Star, which the body is very close to the 1980 Charvel that Ed had. Ed's 1980 white was a Charvel. And I believe ESP made those stars. I don't know if Akira Takashaki from Loudness had an ESP, I think. He had those 2 star guitars that were really famous, the red and the white one with the
yeah, I believe they were, yeah.
Yeah. And then Greco. So Lewis found that 1980s Greco body, which was popular, and it was blue. It was like a metallic blue. And, he stripped it down, sanded it, got it white, got it ready to be painted, and that should be hopefully done soon.
Nice. Now, a couple of months ago, what guitars did we see you playing at EVH Con?
Well, I brought 2. I brought the Rasa that Lewis built. And that's the one I played. I played 2 songs. We did Out of Love again from Van Halen 2, and we did Ain't Talking About Love from Van Halen 1.
You nailed Out of Love, though, man.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
God, that was freaking kick-ass.
It was great.
My arm is jumping just talking about it.
The backline band was awesome. Yeah. And I mean, they were playing everything from the catalog, from Dave to Sandy. It was funny when we played Ain't Talking About Love. I guess they were streaming it live on 5150 channel at Andrew over in New Zealand, and that song got flagged by YouTube, and they took it. It went dead. It went silent.
Yeah.
So I got one song that we did, but I also brought the Black and White Frankie because the '78 Eruption Strat just came out and everybody was bringing them. So I'm like, well, if I do a song, maybe I'll break out the Black and White Frankie. But I never broke it out. I just kept the roster for 2 songs. But that was a real good time. The EVH Con, we had a good time.
Oh God, that was such a great time. I can't wait to do it every year now. And I'm gonna be dragging Tony and Charles if he'll let me kidnap his ass. I'll bring him up there too.
Yeah, Tony, you got to drive up. It's not that far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna
year.
grab my nephew's van and we're just gonna like load the van up and grab everybody on the way up.
Yeah, right. Because that was the first week of November, so I think they do it pretty much the same time every year. So it'll be right before the holidays, and it gets bigger and bigger every year, and more. It's great meeting more folks. I got to meet Keith, which was awesome to finally meet him. You know, Paulie made the trip. You drove Paulie. You went back, picked him up off the island, brought him down. Got to meet Paulie. And a bunch of other folks, you know. And everyone brought great pieces. Great.
Susan, Janice.
Susan, Janice, you know, Chris 5150 brought his Kramer ad guitar. He brought an Ernie Ball. Steve Nowicki brought his 5150, which is one of the nicest relics I've ever seen or looked at or held.
The 1984 guitar he had was phenomenal.
And the 1984 guitar. And then
Teddy brought his Grail.
Yeah, Teddy brought the Holy Grail, which was amazing. It was beautiful. And Steve-O just bought a Holy Grail. He's working on that right now as we speak. Yeah. So it's great. You know, it's great that Ed, you know what, we celebrate his spirit. We keep him alive every year. And I feel like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's kind of cool.
Guitar Man 45, what's up, dude?
I need a fruit sickle. You got to break that out, Tony. Show everybody again. It was very nice.
Yeah.
That thing came out.
There it is.
The baby sickle.
There it is.
That came out great.
Yeah, it did.
Have you fired it up yet? I know you wanted to let it sit.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It's in there. I'll head in there. I'll get some tea after we play some trivia.
I have to tell everybody, Tony, it's sad. He said he might have to replace Frankie as his favorite guitar with the fruit sickle.
Right.
Well, he's that happy with it.
When you get a new one, it's like a new girlfriend. Like when Lewis finishes my Star, that will be my favorite guitar. No matter the roster right now is my favorite because it's the last one I got in the Ed series. But when the Star comes, it'll be a new girlfriend. And the fruit sickle is the new girlfriend.
Yeah. Betty's
going to be jealous when I build Frankie.
Betty will be jealous, but
nah, I'm having fun. It is like, wow, it is such a play. It's past a pleasure. It's a luxury to play that thing. And yeah.
Well, the story's kind of cool because you got a pretty cool, you know, the road, what do you call it? Like when you go out on the road and you get road wounds, or there's a word for it, it's escaping me. But the story of the guitar, what it went through with Neil trying to figure out how to do it and start over, strip it down, start over, strip it down. It's got good war stories. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the chronology of it.
The chronology and the history and the war stories of how it went from the Kramer special to what it morphed into over that time period to when you now got it. It's a cool story.
Yeah. I had the thing for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, I'll get it before we leave. Yeah.
I thought at one point Neil was just going to start over and be like, you know what? I'm going to buy another one. They're not that expensive. Yeah. And I'm just going to start over because I might have done that.
Well,
by the third time.
Yeah. Well, he had never done that,
Nope.
and
Yeah.
you can't use tape,
Nope.
and you can't stack that many layers up either.
Mm-hmm. And
It
keep it
was
smooth.
it was
Yeah.
a very obviously it proved to be a difficult build, but it was a very sophisticated is not the right word, but there's a word for it. It was a very intricate build, right? And
I
you've
would
never
say,
complicated
yeah,
and never doing one, right? You never done one. Not many people have built that guitar. So it was
Yeah.
kind of trial and error. So you were like the guinea pig, like when Lewis was doing my roster.
the
He's like, I never
roster's the
done one.
same thing, right?
Right. He goes, I never done
Mhm.
one. He's like, I want to do a trial. Do you want to be the trial run? I'm like, absolutely. And, he figured it out. He tweaked it. There was a line here or there that maybe was not right, and he fixed it. But the only way you could do that is by doing it like Neil. He's never done one of those guitars. So it's trial and error,
And
right?
I noticed Lewis posted earlier the layer combination on what he did first and worked his way up. If you don't mind, Lewis, can you post that again? And Tony, put that out on the highlight there, because just all the colors that he has there,
Yeah, the
to do,
roster
it's
too,
insane.
right?
Yeah, it's an insane color pattern.
White,
A huge wide palette.
yellow, red, green,
What's up, Polly?
black.
Orange. Yeah. Paulie, what's up, brother? His ears must have been burning when we were just talking about him.
Yeah, I'm checking the chat.
Yeah, those things are. It's not like a regular stripe.
No, there's no manual either for those.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you got a tour relic, Wolfgang, or what?
That is, it's. I'll go grab it. It's.
Bring it out. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, so the order is yellow, red, white, green, then black. Ugh.
Yeah, this one is just. It's just a cheap import that I bought and gutted. I wanted to have one, and obviously I don't have 13,000 to find one of the ones the 30 that EVH made in whatever year it was. So I just bought this and I gutted out all the electronics, and I put in EVH pickups, put in a Floyd, and that was it. I put in the real kill switch. This is an EVH kill switch. So basically all EVH parts are an import. And, it was basically going to be a wall hanger at one point. But then I started playing it, and it actually plays really nice. It's almost like the ones that are made in Indonesia. The neck is really nice. My buddy set it up for me. When I played it, I'm like, this is a great guitar. And I kind of take this out with me when I play either in a bar or if I go to the studio with my buddies, because it gives me two humbuckers. So it's very versatile. It's almost like a Les Paul, because the neck gives you that creamy kind of pound cake sound that I like. And this gives you a heavy gainy sound like Ed used in the 90s. And it's it looks cool,
That's ebony fretboard, mother of pearl.
Yeah, ebony's got the blocks. I'm not sure what the wood is made out of, what the grain is, because I can't see it. I'd have to sand it down to really get a look for what it is. But it could be basswood, it could be poplar, it could be some kind of cheap kind of wood. It's light, but it sounds really cool, and just to have it in the collection's nice. So basically,
what that weighs about?
Probably about 8 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah, so
it's probably
not heavy
probably basswood then. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's basswood too. And it's a cool piece. I throw it in the truck, take it with me, go to my buddy's house, jam out, bring it home. Eventually,
relicking on it.
Yeah, the relicking was already done. I really didn't do anything. I didn't do much to this at all.
I mean, do you beat up on it even more so?
Yeah, other than swap everything out, I just basically gutted it.
Do you throw it in the bed of your pickup?
Yeah, I put in new pots. I put in a new kill switch. Put the new pickups, and I put in a new trem, locking nut. String tree wasn't on there. I put the string tree on, so I made it look like Ed's.
Okay.
So basically, eventually most of these are going to be hung on the wall. So this is going to be one of them. And it's kind of like this was the last guitar Eddie toured with, right? In 15.
Yeah. Yeah,
this was the end of the road. It's just kind of nice to have it.
Yeah, he only played 3 different guitars during the end of that tour. He played the Circles guitar, the Star guitar, and that guitar.
Yeah, and I think he played that. Did he play that Rasta out after he got it in Camden?
Did he get it in Camden? I thought he got it up in Bethel Woods.
Well, that's where Chris Gill took the photos.
Okay.
But I believe, I think Scott Smith gave it to him in Camden, New Jersey. I remember reading that because I was like, wow.
I've seen the pictures of Scott giving it to him.
Yeah, and so maybe it was Bethel Woods.
I think Chris took the picture, actually.
Chris took the pictures because I remember if you go to
it was Eddie, Scott, and Adam Reaver in the picture.
Right. Yeah, so right. I don't have any YouTube footage of that guitar on stage. You know, I didn't look that deep.
I don't think I've ever seen it played on stage.
Right. So yeah, I mean, he when the show I went to in 15, this was the workhorse. He played it almost the whole show.
Yeah.
I'm getting bombed by Lewis right now with tons of pictures. Sorry, Lewis, I can't look at him right now. I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah, let me tell you, Lewis is very thorough.
I love that man. I love that guy. He's the best.
Lewis is great. He's very thorough. I was talking to him today earlier a few times. You know, we talk every day, and we're just talking about the Star guitar, and he got the Dan Electro type neck for it, just like Ed's, and it's natural. It's not finished at all. And I'm looking at pictures, and a lot of pictures, you know, they're from 1980 or whatever, and they're older pictures, and kind of like the whole Rob Johnson thing with the circles. Is it midnight blue? Is it black?
Yeah.
Is it metallic black?
I was going to ask you about yours. Is yours blue?
That's black. It's black. But looking at the headstock on the original Star, it's very light, unfinished. And it's. I said to Lewis, you know, what color should we stain it? I want to get it as close to edge as possible, but all the different pictures of the early 80s of the Star, it looks different in different lighting. The pictures are old and grainy. And he's like, we're going to take some shoe polish and we're going to try it. And I'm going to do, you know, 1 coat, 2 coat, 3 coat, 4 coat. And by the third, it was like 2.5 coats. And I'm like, that's it. But he's very thorough and he's got a great eye for this stuff, and better than me because I don't really build like he does. And I just trust him, but he's very thorough.
Keith, haven't you said before that it's tough to paint those because there's not many pictures of the back of the guitar?
Yes. Yeah, it is. It is extremely tough. And a lot of people are, you know, going with, you know, what they can, you know, based on the lines that are.
You know what we did?
You know,
well, you know, the EVH version, the lines are a little bit thicker than Ed's. So like most of the EVH stuff, it's not 100% accurate. So I told Lewis in the beginning, I'm like, I could buy the EVH one. I don't want that one, right? So you know what we did? You know, our good friend Kurt 5150, he's really good friends with Rob Johnson, and we got a picture of the front of his Star and the back of his Star. And we're like, we're using that because if anyone did all their homework and due diligence, it was that guy. It was Rob.
Yep.
And I trust Rob, so I'm like, let's go with Rob's.
I also got some pictures from Paulie this past week, and I sent them to Lewis as well.
Great.
And you know, some of them you could tell the difference. You know, where the lines are a little bit thicker. But,
right.
A lot of people forget about the arrows that were pointing towards the trem cavity. Yeah. You know, where the springs were on the back. Right. That was one thing that everybody always forgets. So everybody always has a UBAB too on there, and
on the back,
you know,
right.
The rest of the lines. Yeah, I mean, like what's his name down? You know, Steele, Doug Steele. He had a friend of his build one, but he built it to his specs. You know, he put a Strat headstock on there, and he striped it all out as well. You know, kind of like the Star.
I mean, you see all different.
But the back was
right. I mean, there's a guy on Instagram who's got a great collection, Tracy Jenkins, and he's got a Star and he's got a Dan Electro neck on it, and he's got a red headstock.
Tracy's collection is insane. Oh my God.
It's great. And I remember saying to Lewis, I'm like, I'd ever paint the headstock red. I never seen that, but it's really cool looking. And
if anybody ever gets a chance who's on Instagram, look up Tracy Jenkins and look at his collection. Oh my God, it is something to behold. It is absolutely beautiful. We lost Mikey there for a quick
second. My internet just went down and up
there.
Okay. Am I back?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, you're back.
All right, cool. Yeah,
you're a little shaky, but we got your audio though.
All right, good. So yeah, I mean that's the story with the star. So that's going to be exciting when it's done. And thank you, Lewis, again.
When he was on previously, he was pointing out to us, so we got to see the inception. He's like, yeah, I just got this thing here. I'm going to build a star out of it.
Right.
I'm like, oh, cool. So
yeah,
now we know who's getting it. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll have to.
Lewis always has like 3, 4, or 5 projects going. So it's nice to be in the queue.
We got to have you on for the unveiling.
Absolutely. Hopefully it'll be a month or so, something like that. But very excited.
You think we can fit him in there, Tony?
Oh, sure. Well, I'd love to see that. Yeah, man.
Yeah, we like to do weird guitars.
Did you see that Steve Rosen last minute jumped on Eddie Trunk today, Pacific your time at like 12:30? I got to watch that later. Yeah. The last minute.
No,
really?
I didn't.
I didn't
That's
know
freaking
that.
phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah, I was at jury duty today and yesterday, so I didn't know what was going on.
Wow.
That's phenomenal. I am so happy for him. Yes. Oh, that's great.
What have you heard, Mikey?
Yeah, I happened to be scrolling through. I'm sorry?
Oh.
What have you heard about this? Have you heard it at all?
No, I haven't. I happened to just be scrolling through Instagram at the end of the workday, and I saw Eddie Trunk posted a picture. Eddie was holding the Tone Chaser book. I'm like, oh, cool. He got a copy out to Eddie Trunk. That's great because Eddie's a great voice in the metal community, and he's got a lot of followers and a lot of connections. So it was cool to see him with an Eddie book. Because Eddie Trunk's a big Kiss guy. He's best friends with Ace Frehley. But you don't really see a lot of Van Halen stuff out of Trunk, although he is a fan. So I saw Eddie Trunk holding the book today, just scrolling through Instagram, like, oh, cool, he got a copy. And then right after that, I saw Rosen put out the Eddie Trunk holding the book, and he goes, it's a last minute thing, but I'm going to be on Eddie Trunk today at 12:30 Pacific time talking all Edward. I'm like, oh shit, I got to watch that.
Right
but I was working, and I figured I'll catch it tonight.
That's freaking awesome. Holy crap.
Steve.
Yeah. Steve got him actually. He got him out a book back in December, and Eddie posted it immediately. He was doing a benefit. I think it was with Dio, and he posted it.
Yeah.
And he also posted one, in between now and then. I think in January as well, talking about the book. And this is just freaking huge for him. The next step for him though, he wants to get on Howard. And.
That would be huge. Well,
I've working with Newicki about it. I've already taken care of it. It's not his job though, so he's forwarded all the information to him. So that's out of everybody's hands. It's up to the booking agents now for Howard.
Right.
So, but those step one is done. Okay, getting him on Eddie Trunk is huge. So that's a great thing.
I think that'll happen too, because if you probably watched the Howard segments when Nowicki was talking about the EVH Con, Howard's like, I'm fascinated with this. I'm fascinated with all you Van Halen nerds getting together and going to this EVH Con. Like, he loves talking about it. And then even when Steve built his 5150 over the pandemic, he had Steve come into the studio. He's like, I'm fascinated with what you do. Tell me about what you did and how you built this guitar. So I think if he pitches him to Rosenbug,
he hasn't done one this year for this year's though, has he? He didn't do a segment for the EVH Con this year.
No,
he did last year. I know.
Yeah, it was last year's segment I saw. But I'm not a religious Stern follower anymore. I used to watch it all the time. I just don't. There's so much stuff on now. I catch it here and there when he has a cool guest on. Like he had Springsteen on a few months ago, and it was really cool. I watched it, but there's just too much content out there. I can't watch everything.
Yeah, I know. We can't.
That was one interview that
all right, kids.
I got
tell you
HBO
what, let's
for.
do. Let's turn the corner here.
Yeah.
Let's ease into some. All right.
Ease in like a gimp suit.
Yeah.
He's in like a pound cake drill.
Yeah.
All right, so some nearly impossible Van Halen trivia for tonight, February 22nd. Let me show you what we're going to give them. Yeah. All right. What we're playing for tonight is a Van Halen 3 pass. Okay. And a 71D quarter.
Pisses me off. I can't get one of those quarters now.
So that's what?
I'm ineligible. Damn it. I ought to start a fight with Tony just so I could get back in the chat and win this shit.
You wouldn't have won anyway.
What, are you kidding me?
You wouldn't have won anyway.
Yes, I would have.
No, man. Those kids in the chat, they're aces. They would have smoked you, bro.
Oh, I would have smoked them all on this question tonight.
Right.
Come on,
Lewis,
I got this in milliseconds.
Lewis, stay off
But
Google. No
this
cheating.
is a tough one. Yeah, no Googling.
All right, kids. No hints.
This week. No hints.
All right, so there is.
Come on.
There is a email address down below, trivia winners email. If you are the winner, email me your name and address. I'll mail you out that pass and that 71D quarter tomorrow morning. My lovely postal worker will ensure that.
Yes.
Yeah, she will. All right. Good luck, kids. Thanks for being here. Let's find it. Yeah.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck. Here we go. Keith, watch the chat there.
I got it.
All right. Here we go.
Oh, Lewis, you're great. I love you, brother.
Nearly Impossible Van Halen trivia, February 22nd. Here we go. This 12-foot-high plaster sculpture guards the entranceway in the foyer to David Lee Roth's mansion. It was given to him by a female fan in 1981 in Detroit at Cobo Hall. What is the sculpture of?
Long dramatic pause. We're waiting.
Are we scratching
Googling.
our heads?
Lions. The first thing that came to my mind in front of Dave's house. The Lions.
Keep it coming, kids.
Either you know it or you don't, right?
Himself.
If you know, you know.
You know, you know. Yeah, more prizes coming in. Got some passes from the Balance Tour coming.
Freaking a 12-foot tall lawn jockey, really? Come on, Silva. You've been working out the contact highs at the machine shop again?
All right.
Yeah.
This is
And once again, happy birthday, Steve-O.
Steve-O.
Yeah, happy birthday, bro.
Oh,
cheers, brother.
I mentioned this in the green room. Props out to Jeff Goebel of Forever Unchained, my buddy. He did a great Pasadena tour for all you guys, any Ed heads. He did a Pasadena tour. Check out his content. Great guy.
Yeah. Yeah. All of his stuff is finally released, so you can watch it all. Oh my goodness, people. I thought somebody would have had this one figured out by now.
That's why it's called Nearly Impossible.
Or just impossible.
No, it's not impossible.
It's not impossible, but
no, because
right
I
now
knew
it
it.
is.
I knew it
You
within
knew it?
milliseconds. I knew it right off the bat. So it's not impossible.
No, but it's impossible for everyone in the chat.
Apparently. No Googling either, people. I'm putting up the no Google barrier.
Yeah. So, Keith, I hadn't told you this, but I'll tell you now while we're waiting on this answer. Next week on the show, I'm going to show you something cool. Yeah. Not
okay, Lewis.
Not every day that we whip out our old high school yearbooks.
Ooh.
But yeah, I got a high school yearbook to show you next week, and it ain't mine.
Oh, okay. Nice. No, you didn't.
It ain't mine. I'll say that.
Call Alan Garber. Steve-O!
All right.
Shocker. Nobody knows yet. Shocker.
Okay. You know why you can't find it on Google? You know why that is?
That's funny. Because I was actually going through while I was waiting in jury duty today. I was like compressing all my pictures. I've got 45,000 pictures in my camera. In my
45,000.
45,000.
That's insane.
Probably 44,000 of them are Van Halen. Okay. And one of the pictures that I was scrolling through and like, okay, I got to put that in this file was this question.
Right.
45,000. Goodness.
45,000 pictures.
Yeah. What I was doing was basically trying to compile all of the pictures of Frankie in its all different stages.
Right.
So I could get an accurate representation of, what I want to build. Because, the one I want to build is a real tough one to get. With the gold Floyd, with the short fine tuners right up close.
82? That gold Floyd was 82, right?
82, yeah.
Yep. I like that, Keith. I like that.
Nobody really has that, and only 3 of those Floyds were made. So,
you know what else I want to do? And I don't know, you would know the year if it was 79, 80. Double whites. Very few pictures with the double white humbucker and the Frankie. I like that. Mm-hmm. No one does it. Nobody.
Yeah, 79 and 80. Yeah. Yeah, right in that transitional period, you had that.
Yeah, it might have been the Super Distortion because he was playing around with that. With a bunch of guitars, and I've never seen anyone do that.
I think that might have been the Cream Super D that he pulled out of the tape.
I think it was. But yeah, I think the gold hardware, the gold trim, that would look cool.
Yeah.
Nobody does that either.
I'm still not seeing it up here, people. What the hell? Come on.
Dolly Parton. Andy Carson.
Yeah. Oh, wouldn't that be beautiful?
All right, so we're gonna chalk it up as.
I think.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Let me.
Yeah. I mean, we'll give it a couple more minutes, but still.
Now, so, all right, so this 12-foot high plaster sculpture is 12 foot high. You've seen pictures of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
From the 81 tour in Detroit, okay? What's that big sculpture of? I was trying
Everybody
to make
here
it,
has seen it.
I was trying to make it.
Seen it.
I was trying to make it hard. I wasn't trying to make it
Impossible.
I'm trying to send them packing.
I can't believe it. Nobody here gets it. You want to drop the hammer on this? I didn't know it's not the guy with the hammer.
All right. So your answer to this for tonight. Let me check the chat one more time.
I won the quarter tonight.
Hang on, Keith. Hang on, bro.
He did.
All right. I'm gonna put Keith in the ice room. All right. So nope, not seeing it. All right. So your answer for tonight is Michelangelo's David. If you know what that looks like.
I can't believe none of you has had that. It's actually mentioned in the Life magazine article as well.
What were you saying, Keith? You said it's actually what?
Mentioned in the Life magazine article. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You lost your internet.
Oh, okay. Well, you had me muted, so.
I didn't have you muted. You went in and out.
Okay. So yeah, that was mentioned in the Life magazine article. I think probably like second page on it, and yeah, it was just shocking.
Where else have we seen that though?
I've got a picture of the.
But there's a famous picture that was somewhere in the Inside magazine, maybe somewhere.
I think it was on the Inside magazine, and I've also got one. Not too far, not too old. And I don't know if it was photoshopped or what by Dave, but it's the David with him next to it, and the statue has the Japanese tattoo bodysuit that he has. Right. So it's all, it's short sleeve bodysuited tat, just like him. It's insane. I'll send it to you and I'll post it later on tonight.
Let me ask you, Mikey. So you started playing guitar at 10, dude?
10 years old. I was in 5th grade, and not a funny story, but I told you about my cousin Joe. We grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and my dad's sister, my aunt, we had an Italian-style mother-daughter house where we lived upstairs, and my aunt lived downstairs. And I had a cousin, Joe, who was about 10 or 12 years older than me. I had an older sister who was into punk and new wave, but my cousin, Joe, was my music mentor. Like, he would listen to Sabbath, Zeppelin, The Who, Deep Purple, and, of course, Van Halen. So the earliest I remember hearing Led Zeppelin was the first kind of music I heard that I was like, wow, the guitar is really talking to me. I really like that. And he gave me a couple of albums, and I was really, that Christmas when I was turning 10, I told my parents I wanted a guitar. So they got me a guitar. And Zeppelin was the first kind of songs I started learning. A lot of the riffs aren't so difficult. Whole Lot of Love and whatever, rock and roll, Black Dog to some point. And it wasn't until about a year later where I discovered Ed. And then I was playing guitar for about a year, got my footing, playing some chords and playing some riffs. And then, the day I heard, now I'm about 11 years old, so it's probably going on 81, 82. And Dive It Down was all over the radio that summer. And I remember hearing, like, Where Have All the Good Times Gone and Pretty Woman. And I'm like, what is that? Like, the guitar just jumped at me. The tone of the guitar, the rawness. And I was like, that is great. So I had a friend of mine who lived across the street. His name was John Maselli. And he started playing guitar because I started playing, and he had Van Halen 1. So I hadn't yet purchased Dive It Down, but I heard it on the radio. And he was like, if you like that, he's like, come upstairs to my house. I want to play you something. And lo and behold, he played me Van Halen 1, and then it was over. I was just, that's the jaw drop moment while I was in his room listening to it, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And that's where it started for me. I started taking lessons at my buddy Mike Maggio's music store in Brooklyn. Took lessons for about a year. chords, you know, some scales, pentatonic, and all this different stuff. And then slowly but surely, I started bringing in my cassette tapes to my guitar teacher, like John. I'm like, hey, I want to learn this. You really got me. I want to learn Ain't Talking About Love. I want to learn this. So I went from the Mel Bay book to Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2, Dive It Down. And then slowly but surely, I found my way. And by the time I got to high school, I started my first band, and we started playing cover tunes, started playing out in some local bars in Bay Ridge and Staten Island. And then it just morphed into more and more, collecting guitars, buying guitars, and playing more guitars.
Nice.
But I started at 10, and I just turned 50, so I've been playing guitar for 40.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, my first Van Halen show was the 81 show.
Yeah, that was before me.
July
right?
17th. I know it was before you. And then I went to the Brendan Burns show in 82. 84, I was in Biloxi already in the Air Force. 86, I was down in New Mexico in the Air Force, so I saw him in Las Cruces.
Right.
But 88, I was all over that in New York, New Jersey. Right. You know, I saw all the shows in there and everything from there on. You know, until I moved out here in 03.
Right, 84 Biloxi. Was that the show afterwards in the pool hall where you saw them?
Yeah, at the bar. Yeah, where
that's
I shot
just
pool.
that's amazing. That's just amazing.
Yeah, I don't think Tony gave that or asked you that question.
What's that?
In the 15 shot rapid fire. What's your best Van Halen moment?
Well, you asked me
that was last. That was the big one. But yeah, hadn't gotten to it yet. But so yeah,
right.
What is your big Van Halen moment?
Yeah, my best concert, which I told you was obviously the first one in '86, and emotionally the last show because I kind of felt 15 with the last tour. But my best Van Halen moment was after the band or when the band was on hiatus was on my honeymoon in 2001 when I met Mikey in Hawaii. And I was in Maui, and I should have sent you guys the picture, but I'm in Maui on my honeymoon in 2001, and we're in the Grand Wailea, I think. No, actually, it was in Kauai. I'm sorry, we went to Kauai first. We stayed in the Hyatt, the Grand Hyatt in Kauai.
Oh yes. I did my honeymoon in Kauai as well.
We went to Kauai and Maui, but it was the first one. So we were in Kauai, and second or third day, I'm down in the lobby walking around, taking it all in, and I see Michael Anthony walking across the lobby, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" and I'm slowly like following him around the corner, and like I don't want to be like a creep or be like a stalker, but I'm like, he's in the hotel. Holy shit! So I didn't. He went into the elevator and he went on his way. So I went back and told my wife, I'm like, my wife doesn't know his name. I'm like, the bass player for Van Halen's in the freaking hotel, and she's like, okay, what are we doing for dinner? I'm like, no, you don't understand. The bass player Van Halen's in our hotel in Hawaii. So I think the next morning he was getting some surfboards, and he was with one of his brothers, and we were coming through the lobby going to breakfast or something, and I saw him, and I'm like, hey, Mike. And then he looked at me, and I'm like, I'm Mike from Brooklyn, big fan, brother. And then he came over, and he started just talking to us. He's like, hey, man, what are you doing here? I'm like, we're on our honeymoon. My wife Jen, and he's like, I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm with my brother, man, we're surfing. I'm like, awesome. And we made some small talk. I told him I was a musician. I played guitar. I told him I saw a couple of the shows, and he's like, he actually asked me, he's like, you want a picture? Because my wife had the camera. I'm like, that would be great. And we got a couple of shots with him, and that was it.
The rest, so cool, dude.
Yeah,
Mike is cool.
He was super cool, super nice. I think one night he sent a bottle of wine or champagne over because he knew we were newlyweds.
Oh, nice, dude.
And that was it. We didn't bother him. I saw him around, and it was just kind of cool. That was just a moment. I never got to meet Ed, unfortunately, or Dave, but
yeah,
I met Mike, and he was super nice dude.
Bro. That is so badass, bro.
That's our honeymoon moment, in Kauai.
Yeah.
2001.
Sweet.
And your wife was probably like, "Who's this guy?"
She knows Van Halen, she knows Ed and Dave, but no, she didn't know Mike. I'm like, he's the bass player. And she's like, okay, what's for dinner? I'm like, all right, where are we going? Where are we going for dinner? I'm like, I'm like, wherever he's going, his brother.
Right.
Yeah,
But he was
your
super nice.
honeymoon is memorable, but you meet Michael Anthony on your honeymoon. It's very memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool, and he couldn't be nicer, and he was very approachable. He came over, he took a couple pictures, and that was it. You know, we didn't bother him. And then we went on to Maui the next week, and I was like, can we stay in Kauai? And
Yeah.
then we went to Maui, and like it was like a basketball tournament going on, like maybe the All-Star games. A bunch of basketball players were there, and then one of the Yankees was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I'm a Yankee fan. Dave Winfield's in the pool.
Right on.
So I said to my wife, "This is like an athletic rock star honeymoon." And then I'm in the gym one day, and Dave Winfield's next to me doing prep, like he's like, "You give me a spot." I'm like, "You're Dave Winfield." This is the craziest honeymoon on so many different levels. Wow. But and I remember that year he was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, I think, Winfield. I'm like, you got to go in as a Yankee. He's like, going in as Padre. I'm like, no, you're killing me. He went in as Padre.
Did he?
Yeah. He came up with the Padres. But he was a cool guy, too. Giant. The guy was like 7 foot tall. He's tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But meeting Mike.
Yeah, he's like 6'5", I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just a monster.
Yeah.
Hell of a hitter, too.
Yeah.
He hell of a nice guy.
Yeah, he was very nice, and but Mike was a sweetheart. Anything you ever heard about Michael is all true because the 10 or 15 minute interaction I had with him, he was just totally cool dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got a few great Mikey moments as well, and every one of them, he's just like such a a guy. He was a dude.
Yeah, he's just like a normal dude. Like if you didn't know he was a bass player for Van Halen, he would just be like fucking cool dude that like it's Mikey, man.
That's a great story, man.
Yeah, it's cool because it was my honeymoon, and it was 22 years ago. Fuck, 2001.
Nice.
Crazy. But that's the Van Halen moment.
Right on.
Right.
Great one. Yeah.
Not as cool as meeting them in Biloxi and shooting pool with them.
Yeah, well, there was a kicker to it. That was Eddie, but then Mikey came up with a tray of shots. He's like, waitress service.
Right. That's just unbelievable.
Getting served shots by Mikey. Fuck.
Dude, it's awesome. And it's great that it happens to like fans, like it happened to you. Like anyone could have been in that bar in Biloxi, and there were other folks in the bar, right, that maybe didn't know who they were and didn't mean anything to them, but like it meant everything to you, or if it happened to me or Tony, like that's just a memory you'll have forever. And it's cool to happen to you. Like it should have happened to you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm glad it happened to you. I'm glad I got to meet Mike. It was just something cool. It's a great story, great picture. Never forget it.
Yeah, and lucky too. As many Van Halen shows as Keith's gone to up around home, to be in the military on the other side of the country and just happen to go to a Van Halen show and have that happen all the way down there. That's cool.
Well, yeah, dude, they were staying in the same condo. They were rentals right there along the beach. Mississippi Gulf Coast Coliseum is right along I-10. And if you cross over, you've got the beach right there.
I think I told you
they were staying there.
The first time I heard your story, we might have been on one of these shows, and I think I told you that time. I'm like, that was God thanking you for doing what you were doing, serving this great country and these great people. Yeah. So that was his way of saying, good fucking job and thank you, man. Yeah. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
There
you go. And after that, I made damn sure I was never going to miss a tour ever. From the first tour in '81, I knew I was hooked.
Right.
From the first album, I was hooked, but it was the first tour. It was just like, okay, I got to see these guys all the way through.
Right.
And I did. I was so thankful I got to see them every tour all the way through.
Right. I lost my way after '95. Gary, I love Gary too. I like Van Halen 3. I'm an extreme fan. I'm a Gary fan, but late '90s with everything going on with the music scene and whatever I had going in my life, I lost my way and I missed that. I missed Van Halen 3. So part of me, I blame myself for like missing that period of Van Halen because that was right before the dark times with the reunion tour in '03 and stuff.
Right.
But I would have liked to seen that incarnation of Van Halen, and I would have liked to seen that other album come out with Gary because I like Gary a lot.
And they brought out, songs that nobody had heard since Dave was in the band too. So
Yeah.
when I first saw him in at the Garden in May, they had Creed opening up for him, and then my head exploded that they started with Unchained and Romeo Delight they were playing. I was just I was freaking because that's my all-time favorite song of all time.
Yep, and I know
not Van Halen, all time.
All time. I know Women and Children First is your favorite album all time, and I watched.
And Romeo Delight's my favorite song of all time.
Yeah, that's in my top 2. Romeo Delight's probably my top 1 or 2 Van Halen songs all time, and Women and Children First is any day of the week you ask me is my favorite album. It's that and Fair Warning. I kind of flip flop.
Yeah, but I'm not talking just my favorite Van Halen song. I'm talking my favorite
all
song.
time. No, I agree with you. And
then Fly Me to the Moon is right underneath there.
I watched footage of that tour in '98 when they play in Australia. And let me tell you something, like if you see that Mean Street footage, Ed is fucking on fire. Ed is on fire on that tour, like he's got something to prove, and his chops are like top of his game.
Yep.
And I kicked myself in the ass for not seeing that, and I missed that.
I saw him 5 times that tour. I was just like so thankful every chance I got.
Right. That's great.
Every chance. It was such a great show. Every show.
Yeah.
Mikey, what Roth shows did you see?
I saw they were both at the Garden. It was I don't know if it was 07 and 12. And then the last show, 15, was in New Jersey.
Yeah. Right.
And like Keith said, the first one, Ed wasn't really sober, and it was rough. The 2012 was better, but there's a lot of moments in 2012 where I was watching Ed. It's funny, I watched an interview with Phil X talking about this, and I agreed with him a lot. Where in 2012, Ed was almost there, but like during the show, you would see him go for things and not do them. Almost like he didn't trust himself or he wasn't there yet. But it was a lot better than that first tour where he wasn't, where he said he was sober, but he wasn't really sober. And, he came out later and said he wasn't sober. But 2012 at the Garden was better, but 15 was the best rock show I saw for Ed. Ed's playing in 15 was for me, like he was back, and it was the best I seen him play since 86, which was a long time ago.
So Mikey, with you not going to see Van Halen until
in the
Sammy
90s.
Hagar coming into the band, what did you feel about not now? I know you feel now, but back then in the mid-late 80s and up to the mid-90s, how'd you feel about the old Van Halen, the Roth era, after you?
I was, to be honest, like when Roth left the band. Yeah, when Roth left the band, it was a huge letdown for me because those first 5 albums, is it 5 or 6? It's 1, 2, Women and Children First. Those first albums for me were everything as a guitar player, and just Dave, the showmanship, the frontmanship for me was huge. And I did not like Sammy. I mean, I knew all his work with Montrose. I knew his solo stuff. But when the album came out in 85 or 86, when 5150 was 86? And I remember hearing the singles on the radio before I went to the concert. Like, Why Can't This Be Love was leaked out before I went to that show. I think my show was August of 86. And I remember hearing it on the radio, and I was like, I don't like the direction. There's a lot of keyboards. I don't hear the guitar solos. It was before I got the actual album. And so to answer your question, Tony, my initial feeling was like I was disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I still am a huge Roth fan. And even to this day, if I have to go pick albums, I'm picking Women and Children First. I'm picking Fair Warning, Dive It Down, Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2. Because that's what I gravitate to as a guitar player. I just love Ed's playing. It's raw. It's what's the word? It's intimate. The early albums had one guitar track. He would solo. There was no backing tracks. It was just raw and in your face. And that's what I loved about Ed. later on in my Van Halen journey, I grew to appreciate the Sammy years. And when I went to the concert in '86, even at that young age, they won me over. Like I went in not fully happy, and then they only played a handful of the old songs, right? They played Ain't Talking About Love. They played, did they even play Jump? I don't remember Live Without a Net. They didn't play a lot of the old songs. They played the whole new album. And they played Panama. They played Panama.
Panama. Yeah.
So even going
You really got me.
Not hearing a lot of You Really Got Me. They played not hearing a lot of the old songs. I was disappointed, but the energy of that show and hearing those songs live kind of changed my mindset. And then I went back and re-listened to the whole CD, and I'm like, there's some really good stuff on here that I kind of skipped over. But I, initially I was disappointed, but because my heart was the old band. That original band is what I fell in love with. But I love every era of Van Halen. Like I'm not a Sammy versus Dave guy by any means. Like I love For Foreign Lawful Carnal Knowledge. It's a great album.
Right.
Balance over the years, it's grown to be one of my favorite albums.
Yeah, me too.
Guitar wise,
me too.
Maybe not 1995, but today when I go back and listen to it, I'm like, this is a fucking masterpiece.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to give it up for Bruce Fairbairn. Bless you.
Absolutely,
heaven, man. Yeah, he did such a phenomenal job with them, considering what he had to deal with. Because they were basically at each other's throats.
At each other's throat by that time, right? And even Andy Johns, who Ed joked about him liking to drink a lot. I think Andy Johns got a phenomenal drum sound on For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. He got that old Zeppelin kind of like Alex's drum sound.
Exactly.
What's up, Chris Hunter?
Phenomenal.
What's going on, Chris? Long time no see, brother.
Andy Johns and like you said, Fairbairn, they did great jobs producing those albums. And they're great albums. They are. OU812 needs to be remixed. We all know that.
Yes, and give everybody a heads up on Record Store Day, April 22nd. They are re-releasing the Live Right Here, Right Now album, all remastered.
Yeah, I saw that.
And they're gonna be going back and doing all of the Sammy era stuff, just to give everybody a heads up.
Yeah, I'm
if
looking
it were
forward.
Me, I would have done OUA12 first. It's just me though.
Because the songs.
I'm sorry, Alan.
I love the songs on that album. The songs are great. Just if it's remixed, I think it'll make a world of difference. And most fans from that era are like that album. We would love to have it remixed.
Yeah, remixed and remastered.
And remastered, right?
Got to get that bass up.
Well, they'll most likely make a little package thing, and of course we'll all buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, that'll be great. I can't wait for it.
Yeah,
it'll get what it deserves finally.
Long overdue, but I'm sure all of us will open up the set and go right to OUA12 first.
Yeah. It'll be like us buying, all those Beatles fans rebuying the White Album again, over and over.
Well, I remember in the 90s when Zeppelin put out the remasters and then the remasters. Yeah. I bought every time they came out. I bought them. And then I'm like, I don't hear much of a difference, but it's great. It's Zeppelin.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything they put out, VH will buy. And hopefully, with the technology today, what they can do, it'll sound great. So I'm looking forward to all of those.
My one hope and prayer, though, is that they just throw in a little bit more, add a little something, a little behind the scenes stuff or some outtakes or whatever.
Wasn't Sammy saying they
because I've got to release that Vault stuff, and I know
Sammy said
I know it's a touchy scenario,
right? But there's some stuff that they found, right? Sammy was saying there's some tunes that he knows they worked on that they have. So even if it's 2 or 3 songs, anything would be great.
It'd be nice, But just to have it remixed and remastered, I'm thankful for it. So
but that Right Here, Right Now is already in stone. In April. So that's coming. We'll all hear more about that. But I hope they don't drag their feet on the next project. So I hope they.
You know what everyone, like the Holy Grail would be for me? I know the 81 Oakland show, there's only those 3 songs, but 84 there's no pro shot footage. There's no cleaned up footage from that tour. It kills me. Absolutely. I mean, you got that one MTV thing in Detroit, that wild weekend for the concert winner, right? But there's nothing.
You've got
Montreal, which is one camera,
and Vegas,
and then a little bit of Donington. But not
much.
You've got Hoffer Teacher and Donington.
Hoffer Teacher, yeah, and half of the guitar solos on Michael.
Right.
It boggles my mind because in '84 they were one of the biggest acts in the world, and they toured that album to death. And I'm like, there wasn't a pro shot show anywhere across the globe that we can get.
And
that's like the ultimate holy grail. Because remember, for years Zeppelin, we would be like, "There's no footage other than the song remains the same." And then, like in 2003, Jimmy Page went to the vaults and he put out 75, the Royal. The Earl's Court. He went back and remastered 71 at Royal Albert Hall. And he started putting shit out. I'm like, thank God. So now I'm praying that Wolfie is somewhere in the vault. Someone has anything from '84 to put out, because that, for me and for most of you guys, is the holy grail. That tour. But I don't know. I'm like you guys. I don't think there's anything there.
Yeah.
Well, if it's going to be done, it's not going to be done by Wolf. It's going to be done by Al. And, God love him. Hope he does it. But, I'm happy with everything we've gotten and everything
I am too.
so far.
That would just be, if I had one thing that they'd say, what would you really want? I'm like, 84.
Well, I think that we're at us as fans, what we've seen that they've given us through the years and what we can see down the road, stuff is going to be unearthed from time to time, and that's the only way we're gonna get it.
You're right.
But it does happen.
It does. I mean,
nuggets all the time.
Look what happened with Zlow's. Right? Did Neil Monk find all those photos and original film from the VH2 sessions? And
Michael Strider found all that stuff. Yeah.
Right. So stuff does get unearthed. Right. It could happen. Someone might one day, either Al or Wolfie, either hire someone to go through the vault and just start digging through. And then maybe it happens in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. But maybe like, look what we found back here. Hey, I got to believe there's a lot of diamonds and gems in there. It's just a matter of, will they do it and go through it and look for it?
Well,
we know right now Wolfie's main priority is Mammoth. He's recording the second album. He's using a lot of Pop's guitars on this album, which is huge, right? He used the SG from Dirty Movies on a track. I think he used a Frankie on a track. I think slowly but surely he's starting to come to terms and deal with the loss of Pop and maybe turning the corner of celebrating the history rather than pushing it off. And I think when he matures,
that's you hit the nail on the head right there. But
Exactly.
that is going to take time, and I think then when he is a little older, under those circumstances,
will he celebrate?
Possibly see? Yeah.
Two things: we forget his youth, right? He's a young guy compared to us guys, right? So the maturity level and how it only happened a couple of years ago, it's still really raw. And also, I compare him a lot to Jason Bonham in a sense that Jason embraces his dad, right? He does a whole full-on Led Zeppelin show. He celebrates John. He celebrates what Zeppelin was. A little different there because Wolfie is a monetary difference, right? I don't think Jason Bonham has Eddie Van Halen dollars, or John Bonham left him Eddie Van Halen dollars that he doesn't need to do that. Maybe Jason needs to do that, but still celebrates it. But I think at some point, Wolfie's going to cross over from maybe it's 5 years from now when he realizes, I want to celebrate Pop because he was the fucking best to ever walk the earth and do this. So I'm going to celebrate it. I think we're going to get to that point. I just hope I'm not too old to go out and see it, but I think it's going to happen.
Right.
And that's going to be a glorious time for all of us.
Yeah. It's not going to happen soon, though.
No,
it'll
2 or 3 more Mammoth albums, a few more tours, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. When Wolfie's approaching 40, he starts waving the fucking flag, and we're all going to be there.
Yeah. Well, no telling what'll happen between now and then. But
Right.
but he'll view things differently later. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
That is for sure. But there'll be all kind of stuff that's unearthed. Each year there's nuggets every year. So
Yep.
Just as long as Al gives the blessing, I'm up for it.
Right.
If he's involved with it, I know it'll be the best that there is.
Oh yeah. But still though, as Mikey said, Al aside, somebody unearths a full pro shot of some town on the 1984 tour, yeah, I want to see it.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that and the 81 tour.
Yeah. I mean, it almost begs to think that, like, I can't see Dave or Templeman not wanting to have a big production of that tour, right? It was the biggest to date. The Jump was the number one. It was the number 2 album to Michael Jackson. They were on top of the world. Right. And that side of the band was always about bigger and better and the production of it. I would have to imagine at some point during that whirlwind of a tour that Dave and Ted were like, we got to get this, and put this out or just capture it. I'm sure it's somewhere. Where it is, I don't know. But hopefully, like Zeppelin, 5 years, 10 years later, it comes out somewhere from the vault, deep in the vault.
And they did have film cameras on site too. I could be witness to that. I was riding the rail.
But dude, they don't even need that, because you watched what Peter Jackson did with the Beatles, Abbey Road's studio, right? I had that VHS tape from Abbey Road's. It was like a 3rd generation tape. You could barely watch it, but we all did because I love the Beatles. He digitalized that and brought that back like it was like 4K, like HD. That documentary is amazing. So if we could just find the Van Halen footage, give it to a guy like Peter Jackson, clean this thing up, bring it into the millennium, we'll be fine. They could do it. They could definitely do it. Just got to find it.
Oh, God, I think Peter Jackson is screwed now. Everybody's going to be knocking on his door.
Dude, I was amazed at the Beatles footage. I'm like, look how crystal clear this is. It's from 1969, and I saw the original Let It Be movie, or whatever the movie they called it, and it was like grainy, shitty footage, but it was great. And he brought that back like it was a brand new movie. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So they could do it. You just got to find the footage.
Guys, I'm gonna grab some tea real quick. I'll be right back.
All right, buddy.
Yeah.
So, if you were to see any version of Van Halen, what would it be that you missed?
What year?
Yeah, which version? What year? What tour?
I think 81. Because that was, for me, musically the peak. I don't say commercially. 84 was commercially the peak with Dave, but I think they're playing in 81 was fucking on all pistons, firing like a jet engine. So I would go 81.
I would agree with you. I mean, they freaking made my head explode on that show.
The band at that time, they were hungry. They were ripping it up. They weren't yet at that peak where they hit 84 commercially, and they were still hungry, but the band was just, it was the Mighty Van Halen. That was the shit. That tour that year was just huge.
They were just blazing across the country like marauding Vikings, raping and pillaging at anybody's whim.
Everyone's playing was at peak potential, and even Dave was still there. Like in 84, Dave was over the top and talking the lines and more about the show.
Yeah.
81,
it was just play like, and all that. Yeah.
In your face, we're ripping it up. We're gonna fucking dominate the world if you like it or not. Fuck you. We're Van Halen. Like that was 81 for me. Like that's what I'd want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And that's the pinnacle. Although, I love 82. I love Dive It Down. Obviously, I love 84. I would love to see that tour. But for me, if you were telling me when they were going up the hill and where they were at their full steam potential, about to take over the world, was 81.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's where everybody was just like, no, you got to see these guys live. No, seriously, you got to see them live.
Yeah.
That was that point right there, After that, the world saw them, And, they just exploded after the 82 tour and 84. Forget it.
Yeah, it's almost like what Ed was doing on a guitar. Like when you heard the intro to Mean Streets, people were still like, what the fuck is he doing? How is he doing that? By 84, even Hot for Teacher, people were on to him, and there was a lot of copycat guys doing it, and a lot of these virtuosos were coming out. But in 81, it was still like nobody even had a clue what he was doing. Right. I mean, I remember hearing that shit for the first time. I'm like, what is he doing? What is that intro? What is that?
I mean, shit, the 84 tour, they had Autograph opening and turn up the radio. Guitarist is sitting there playing just like Eddie did.
It was basically a Van Halen song. Yeah. The solo, anyway. Yeah, everything.
Working up the fingerboard. But I think here's another question for you. What's your favorite bootleg that you've ever heard?
Oh, man. I want to say like Largo. Was there a Largo 82?
Yeah, there were a few of them.
Yeah,
one of them was called Hurricane Halen, and then
Largo 82 for me, because we were just talking about, Tony, when you were getting your tea. Keith had asked me if I had to pick a period or a year, what would I want to see? And I said 81, bar none for me, would be 81. I know 84 commercially. I'm a Dave guy, so with Dave, 84 was the peak of their commercial success. But as a band, where they were ripping up, taking over the world, for me was 81 was the tour. And for some reason, Oakland 81 is my favorite video footage. It's only 3 songs. But I remember hearing the Largo 82 bootleg and just being like, it's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be Largo 82 probably.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually just watching that last night on my computer.
Yeah.
Right on.
Still to this day, it's still a great show. Yeah.
Right.
I think as fans, we all tend, maybe at least not admittedly, but subconsciously, we tend to gravitate toward the bootlegs of the shows that we were at.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what?
I do wish. Oh, go ahead.
No, I feel bad when guys even ask me and fans ask me like, Sam or Dave, and I always feel bad saying, because I have nothing against Sammy, but there's a lot has to do with just your own personal experience of when you found a band, when you found Eddie. And when I grew up and I was a 10-year-old youngster in 1981 or whatever year it was, 82, and I found Ed, that was the band I found. So for me, it was like that was part of my childhood was that band. I grew to love the Sammy band, but that was not the band I fell in love with initially. It's like your first love, your first girlfriend. So Dave, like him or hate him, many people are like, well, he can't sing what Sammy could sing. He doesn't have the register or the range. I'm like, yeah, but don't sleep on Dave. No one can scat or jazz or swing like Dave. Mm-hmm. I go, but that's the band I fell in love with when I was 10 years old. So there's always a special part in my heart for that. I'm not saying I don't love Sammy or Gary, but that's when you ask me, what do I gravitate to? Like most people, that's where it was at for me. That was the first thing I discovered and blew my mind. So you got to do a lot to surpass that initial mind blow for me.
Yeah. Well, I think too, though, no matter where you started or how old you are, I mean, it's you love if you love the band, you love.
Yes.
If just for example, people, the 98 era and Gary and all the negative that goes around it. But as Van Halen fans, doesn't matter what year, if they're coming out with something new, if Keith Campbell's the new lead singer, us as fans, we're still going to accept it and we're still going to love it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's Caleb Rappaport's famous line from Nerd Halen, right? That's my buddy too, is that, what do you want the band to do? Do you want them to break up when Dave left? Or do you still want to hear Ed create music and play music? I want to hear Ed create and play music. I don't care who's singing. It could be Keith Campbell. It could be me. It could be Tony Fruitcake. Who cares? As long as that's up there with a Wolfgang or a Peavy or a freaking Kramer, it really is irrelevant because it's his music. He wrote the music, right? So that whole Dave versus Gary sucks and fuck Sammy and Dave and like that whole thing to me always just boggles my mind because it's not about that. You're missing the point. We all know that. It's about Ed. It's about the band.
2 bullet points right here.
Right.
Okay. You don't want me behind the mic. Okay. Maybe I could do some Dave here, but I'm never going to be able to sing Sammy shit.
Hey, Sandra.
Number 2. Hi, Sandra. Love you, sweetie. Hope your toe's doing good. Number 2. When people come up and ask me, Sam or Dave, I say Eddie.
Right. That's
Period.
the point.
And the answer right there. It's all about Eddie and Alex and whoever's playing bass. It doesn't matter. You know?
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
It's Van fucking Halen.
Absolutely. That's what it's about. It's we and thanks to Wolfie, we were able to get, another album, 3 more tours, whatever it was, right? So if it wasn't for Wolfie, that wouldn't even have happened. So everyone ragging on Wolfie not playing Van Halen songs and this and that. It's like, you're missing the point. If it wasn't for that kid, we wouldn't even have got to see 3 tours and get another album. So you should thank your lucky stars that he was even there pushing the needle and pushing his dad to do it. So, most people missed a point, right? Not us people, but most people.
Yeah. But Keith would say the stronger the opinion one way or another, the really less of a fan that they are.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, but
the one thing I always loved about it was everybody was always ragging on Wolfgang during the 07-08 tour, saying that his vocals were piped in. Bullshit, I call
bullshit.
Okay. And we found out after the fact, people got to realize, give him more credit than he was due. And they were still doing it to him, when they were asking him, to do the Taylor Hawkins tribute. They were like, oh, they were saying, oh, that shit was piped.
He played the tracks.
No, it wasn't. Yeah. Bullshit.
Come
on, that kid grew up in the studio with Pop.
Right.
He knows that shit inside and out.
Wolf's on fire. I think all of us are ready to hear that next album from him.
Oh,
I know I'm ready for it.
Oh man, I'm all lubed up and ready to listen now.
It is.
Yeah.
People forget the what's the word, the genes, right? If anyone saw any of the footage that was leaked out from the Andrew Bennett stuff when he was going through Eddie, Van Halen boot camp, you knew he had the chops. You knew he could do it. You knew he put the work in, and he was 15. He was 15. You know what I was playing on my guitar when I was 15? Like pentatonic licks, basically. He was 15 playing Van Halen soup to nuts. By the time I saw him on the 2015 tour, his background vocals, his bass playing, his harmonies it was as if Michael was there. There was no difference. He was phenomenal. And then when we watched the Taylor Hawkins boat shows, and people had the audacity to say he was playing Dad's tracks on the guitar, like that they didn't believe he played Half a Teacher or On Fire. Like, he nailed those songs. He doesn't play those songs. He rehearsed them for those shows. He doesn't play them on guitar.
What's up, Tommy?
To doubt his talent is just crazy. He's a Van Halen. I expected nothing less than that, and he knocked it out of the park twice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you could tell during the forum show that even so, he still made it his own as well.
Yeah.
It was just like freaking wow, And every time I heard it, the arm hair would jump up and the tears would start flowing.
Right. It was emotional.
It's so beautiful. Yeah. Exactly.
It was emotional for him, it was emotional for us to hear it, but he had to play those songs, and he did it, and that was
as well as he did. It that just makes me, and as much as I like the debut album from him, I'm so ready to hear that new album.
So am I.
And it's already said it's going to be a little harder.
Yeah,
Chris
Gill, he announced
it.
it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He did.
He announced it. He broke the news right here, man, a couple of weeks ago, and it's going to be harder. And he's using Pop's gear.
He's using Pop's
his guitars. He's using the SG. He's using the Frankie. He's using the baritone that he used. And he's got some gear on, and I cannot wait for this. This is gonna freaking blow heads off.
Right. I saw Mammoth 2 shows. I saw them open for Guns N' Roses at the Meadowlands the summer after COVID, so it might have been 2 summers ago. And Wolfgang was phenomenal. The band was phenomenal. They were tight. Then I saw them come around a year later, March of 21. They played at the Starland Ballroom in Sayreville, New Jersey, Keith.
Nice. Yeah.
And they were touring with Dirty Honey, and it was right before the band got COVID, or someone in the group, the tour, got COVID. So the night I saw them at Sayreville, the guitar player wasn't there. So it was actually a trio they played as. And Wolfie, they were fucking tight. They killed it. He sounded amazing. He was confident. He had the crowd going. And I just said, this kid, the next album is going to be, he's going to slay it. So
I think
to
so
Tony's
too.
point, I'm very excited to hear this album.
Yeah. When does that album due out, Keith?
Oh, well, they're talking
say?
this summer now. They're talking this summer because
in time
he wants
for the Metallica. Yeah.
He wants it for the Metallica tour.
Right. And that's coming through the Meadowlands, I think, in August here in Jersey.
August 2nd, yeah. And
the tickets are crazy.
We're spitballing ideas here. Yeah.
I'm trying. I'm working on a few things. The ticket prices, there's some sticker shock, but I got to get to that show.
I know. And as much as, it pains me to say, I would still love to go see Pantera again.
Oh, dude.
It's not going to be the same without Diamond, Vinny.
No.
And I've got my Pantera stories that I love, but I would still love to go see Phil and Rex, up there.
I have no problem with that Pantera because it's like a tribute. I love Zakk Wylde, New Jersey native. I'm a huge Anthrax fan. Charlie Benanti is just a monster musician and a big Van Halen fan. He plays guitar, piano. He's a big Ed guy. He's got Sharks and Frankensteins. He's got the whole collection.
Yeah.
I applaud that Pantera. Celebrate the music. I love it. And I want to get to that show. If I have to sell a guitar to get there, I might have to do it. But I'm going to be at that Meadowlands show because that's going to be an event.
I'll donate a kidney.
Keith, who for the opening acts, who's billed with each other? Pantera and Mammoth?
Yes, yeah, they're paired together because if everybody in the chat doesn't know, they have 2 different nights that they do. Okay,
yeah,
and they have 2 different sets of opening acts. So one night you'll have Pantera with Mammoth and Metallica. Okay, and then the other night you'll have 2 other openers. But I don't care about those.
But
I don't care about those. I want to go see Mammoth and Metallica.
The neat thing about this, what's worth mentioning, is they show up on the weekend for 2 nights. They do 2 different set lists.
Mm-hmm.
Plus there's 2 different opening acts. One night and 2 different the following night. So you choose your tickets. You can go to one based on the opening act on the bill that night. But of course, we're going to Mammoth.
Yeah.
So Mammoth with Pantera.
Yeah.
That's a show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I know, and they're doing it in the pit.
And
they're doing it in the round.
Right.
So it's going to be in the middle of MetLife Stadium. God damn,
dude, that's a great summer show.
Sick.
Dude, August at Meadowlands, that's a great summer show.
And if I have an idea, and I'm sure they're going to be doing this, they'll probably have like a jumbotron in the round above them, so everybody in the stands can see all the way around, and they'll have cameras just going so everybody can see,
Right.
like they do at Bristol Motor Speedway. They have, it's a half-mile track, and they have a 4-sided jumbotron.
Right. That would be cool. I mean, you'd have 70,000 people there going fucking ape shit. I mean, the energy
more
in
than
that
70,000. It seats 55.
Yeah.
So imagine how many would be on the floor. So
that's going to be we got to get to that show.
Yeah.
Because this probably going to be a one-shot thing, right? I don't think they're going to do this again. Because it's not about the money. I don't think that they won't be able to get the lineup. Maybe you got Zach, you got Charlie doing it. I don't think you'll be able to get this thing. This sounds like one of those one-offs. So to catch that with Mammoth, huge.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because Zach's so busy with his BLS going on right now.
Yeah. Right.
Definitely here you're going to have to make a plan of where, you, Mikey, they're kind of close by.
The Meadowlands
in North Carolina, they're not. So it's going to require a little bit of planning and a road trip. And it may be up there, bro. It may, in fact, be up there.
That would be awesome.
Because we're planning sleepover up at Butt Cheek's house up in Poughkeepsie. So you still gotta you're down in Manahawkin, right? Or Matawan?
I'm in Monmouth County, so I'm near Matawan, closer to Matawan.
Okay.
So I'm like I'm in the heart of Bruce Springsteen, Freehold, Asbury Park, Monmouth County.
I know the area well, yeah.
Yeah, I can get.
I used to live in Belmar, so.
Yeah, right. I spent many summer houses in college in Belmar, ripping it up. Yeah. But Meadowlands is in our backyard. I get there in 20 minutes, easy.
Yeah.
So that's the show. If we can coordinate it, I'll go to any of the shows, whatever the lineup. Like Tony said, when it's Mammoth and hopefully Pantera, that's the show. That's the one we're going to aim to do.
Yeah.
And we go tailgate.
I'm probably not going to do both nights.
No, because it's going to be an expensive ticket. It's going to be an expensive ticket.
Yeah, that's some Quan there.
Yeah.
Some major Quan.
Let me do a couple of announcements here. We are approaching the 2-hour mark. So we're Wednesday, right, Keith? So we got a busy week around here. So upcoming Saturday morning.
Oh yeah.
After Keith stays up the whole night the night before, he's going to get.
Is that this weekend?
That's this weekend.
Oh my goodness gracious!
So Saturday morning, right here on the channel, Brendan B. Squared and myself and Keith are going to convene here at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, and Brendan and his lovely wife Meg are going to jump in their local lake, the Sub-Zero Heroes Ice Jump that they do annually, and that raises money for Alzheimer's research. Now, Brendan, his donation page is down in the links below. If you donate at $120 or more to the Alzheimer's Association and this jump, your name is going to be in a drawing for a very cool Sub-Zero Heroes painted cigar box guitar amp. Okay. And he showed it here a couple times recently, and it's very cool. It's very nice. If you donate at the 120 or higher on that donation page, your name is going in that hat. We're going to draw that not at the jump, okay, but we're that night on Show Me Your Pick, John 5, we're going to draw for the cigar box amp. Yeah.
That's going to be a hell of a show, man. Oh, can't wait for that.
Yeah. So speaking of the John 5 show, you'll see the first John 5 Motley Crue tour pick. So, yeah, it is right here waiting to show you.
Oh, yeah.
But that is this weekend. Brendan B. Square, the Sub-Zero Heroes Ice Jump, 11:30 Eastern here with us. Grab some coffee, grab a
Awesome.
biscuit or a bagel, hop on over and watch
Right.
Brendan jump
Yeah.
in Cold Damn Lake.
Have some coffee.
and
You
a
joining
quote.
us, Mikey?
Coffee and a quote and jump in the lake. I'm down.
There
That's
you go,
it.
brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The coffee and a quote for the morning. Oh, shit. Here we go.
So, and let me give you a heads up too. Next week on this program on Halenville Live, we're going to have a special guest. He is Daniel Gray. He is the art director for both
Books.
Ed Baslow's and Tone Chaser by Steve Rosen. So he is the man behind the curtain.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I got a book right over here somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He is also a very great photographer on his own as well. And he is going to be showing some of us his pictures as well.
Here's our buddy. This is
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Excellent.
Yeah, so Daniel Gray will be here next Wednesday talking about his career and the art in these two fine books that we all know and love. Yeah. All right.
yeah.
Let's see what
awesome.
else have we got. All right, so Mikey has asked me, I went while we were getting tea, Mikey asked me to bring this out and show this before we get gone. And we're gonna show it.
Bust it out, brother.
There we go. Fruit sickle.
Show us that fruit sickle. Yeah.
I love the gold hardware. That's just awesome.
Definitely a thing of beauty. To quote Mickey from Rocky, definitely a thing of beauty.
Yeah. So there you go.
That's awesome. It's such a great piece. It really is. It's a beautiful guitar, and it's a great piece to have. Mm-hmm. I just love the history of it and the story of it and everything about it. Like you said, it wasn't really a tour guitar. It was his warm-up guitar, backstage guitar. It's just a great piece to have. I love it.
Yeah, and he only played a handful of times on stage.
There's a handful of pictures I have with him on stage. Not a lot. Not a lot.
Yeah. I always loved that guitar though. Always did, and I had that new Kramer, and I didn't add it up at first, but yeah. But I am beyond happy with every aspect of it. It plays great. It came to me in tune, dude.
Worth the wait.
Yeah.
Worth the wait.
I mean,
it
like,
is.
Duh.
Comes from Chicago in the cold, in tune.
Almost in tune. I mean, really, it did.
Well, that's what fine tuners
are for. But just lovely. Thank you, Neil. Yeah. So Neil Daily Custom Designs. His links are in the description. Hit Neil up, huddle up with him on your next build. And our friend Brendan B. Squared, which we'll be hanging out with Saturday. He makes these cool cigar box guitars. You ought to check one of these things out. And his links are down below. You want to get up with Brendan.
Yeah, he brought those to EVH Con. He brought one of those.
Yep. Mm-hmm. He brought his Franken shovel.
Mm-hmm. That was cool.
Yeah. Well, there was something else that we were talking about. Oh, there it is. Yeah. All right. So this is a few weeks away. But on down the road, April the 8th, we're going to be doing a Show Me Your Pick. That's a Saturday. April the 8th, we're doing Show Me Your Pick number 142 on Main Street.
Yeah.
And we're going to Greensboro to see Mean Street live with you guys. Yeah. and we will spend a episode of Show Me Your Pick in Greensboro with Mean Street on April the 8th.
Hey, how about that opening segment with those guys tonight, huh? Come on, give it up for them. That was nice.
This is Main
That was
Street.
really huge of them. Yeah, man.
Yep. That's them.
Those guys are the shit, man.
Yeah, they are.
Yep. Trey, Benny, Jay, Mitch, love them. They're the best. So if you're in North Carolina, go see them, please. They're not gonna miss it ever when I get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go April the 8th, and after all this hip stuff, that is very much perfect timing on me getting back out there, going to shows again, because I'll tell you, past year, I missed a few shows because of this hip. No fun.
No.
We'll have you out there doing stage dives in April.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to the next EVH Con. You guys come up.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, we'll be there. Don't worry, man. That's definite.
Bring the fruit sickle. Get that fruit sickle up on stage.
We'll definitely be bringing.
Yeah,
definitely be bringing.
Make the fruit sickle a nominee for guitar of the show.
Right. I'll take one with me, and that'll probably be it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll bring Lewis's star. That'll be the one I'm gonna bring.
Ooh. I might have to bring Betty with me then.
Bring Betty or Frankie, maybe a Frankie.
Or Frankie. Well, let's see. I may have Frankie built by then. Who knows?
Yeah, we're in February. You got 9 months.
Yeah, I think I might be able to pull this off.
You can do it. I think you can do it.
I got a mission statement now. Okay.
You got a deadline. November. First week in November.
All right. I'm on it.
Yeah. All right, kids. We're a little over the 2 hour. Let's wind things down. So, Mikey, thanks for being here tonight, man. This was awesome. So cool hanging out with you, bro.
Thanks for having me, Tony. Keith, this was a blast. Like you guys, I always love talking Ed. I love talking Van Halen. I love talking music. And I love talking with fans like you guys because I love the passion. I really do. And everyone in the chat too. Everyone watching this has the same passion we all do. So everyone out there, keep the flag, wave the flag, keep the fire burning, and just enjoy it. Enjoy it every day. It means it made a large impact on my life, like I know it did yours, Keith. Like the ups and downs throughout your life. The one thing that was always there is music, and for me it was mostly Ed and Van Halen and my guitar playing was always a great companion. And that never changes. Ed here or not, it doesn't change. So thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, bro. It's been such a pleasure. We're already writing a part 2 as we speak.
Yes. I was going to say this is to be continued.
Right. Yeah. We'll showcase Lewis's guitar. We'll do another show definitely as soon as we get that bad boy.
Definitely. Everybody in the chat, thanks for watching tonight. Nelson Rodriguez, good to see you, sir. Everyone, have a great week. Thanks for being here. So good to see you guys midweek on Wednesday for all things Van Halen. Leave a thumbs up here on the video and subscribe here if you're not, and share this tomorrow on your social medias. If you're grab our show and put it up on your stuff, I appreciate that. That helps us grow, and I appreciate that immensely. All right, kids, thanks for watching. Mikey Mojo, you rock, bro. Thanks for being here, dude.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, Mikey. And welcome to the family, man.
Thank you, brothers.
Well, you were always part of the family. Always been.
Yeah, I'm going to run that new one too tonight in case you missed coming in. But But yeah, thanks for watching. All roads lead to Van Halen. See you next Wednesday. We're out of here. Peace.
We're Mean Street, and you're watching Halenville Live with Fruitcake Tony. Woo! Wow!
Don't you love that custom logo?